All right. You ready? I'm live. So I'm gonna add you. Oh, I can't hear you. I'm gonna add you.
You're live. Hold on. I haven't started on my channel. What did you title this?
Live update.
Live with friends.
Live with I just put Nurse Adrian RN and Bridget live.
Okay, hold on. Let me.
Oh, I should have sent you the thumbnail. I'm sorry. I should have sent you the thumbnail. Then you could have just used it. I just grabbed a picture of you. Did you see it?
Oh, it's saying that we can stream.
Yeah. So I said right when I went live, there was a setting that said to save down, like save a local copy for all participants.
Yeah.
So it should be saving. So welcome everybody. We are here. We're live, and we're still working through the technicalities because we haven't been doing this for a while, or I haven't at least.
I'm still trying to figure this out. It's like I'm trying to try. It says Instagram stream key.
Oh, I don't even see. I didn't even hook up my Instagram, but
it says you need a Instagram professional account. So I don't know.
Yeah, that was the thing. Some of the apps to go with StreamYard require, because you remember back in the day when they first started adding the ability to stream to like other apps, you had to get permissions, and there was all these like back end things with all those apps. Yeah. So it's kind of weird since it's all like owned by the same companies at this point. So I'm not sure why. Mm-hmm. Seems kind of, but I think this is going to give you a vertical. Are you able to view vertical and horizontal?
It's giving me just, well, part of it is because
click. Are you able to click there's a little box to the left that's vertical?
You're running the controls today.
Oh, you don't have, you don't have it at your end. Okay. So I'm showing live vertical and horizontal. So I'm kind of curious how it will end up saving at the end, if it'll give you both options.
I do see a vertical on my left. Yes.
Yeah. So you can view that. So that's like if you were going to stream, I guess, to TikTok or you can, it's kind of a cool feature. I have no idea again how any of this is going to look.
It's fine.
But I think I'm wondering though on YouTube if people can actually like watch it vertically.
Well, I'm going to go on my YouTube right now because it shows we're live. So on YouTube, it's horizontal.
Horizontal.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
It's one of my channel.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, I guess you could do little short mini lives and it'll be like a short. So yeah, I did a little ad yesterday, like at 11:55 last night.
I know. It was so last minute today too. I was like, I'm always running late.
I know, right? Well, we are busy. We have things going on. So welcome. Hi. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you too. It's been so long.
I know.
Has it been a year or how long has it been? I think it's been more than a year, right?
I think when I looked back, well, in StreamYard, just looking at the videos there, yeah, it was 2023.
Oh my, no way.
I don't even think 2020. No, I don't even think we did anything in 2024. I don't think I saw anything in 2024. I know there was stuff because a lot of it was like kind of aligned when I kind of switched gears.
Yeah.
And took a staff position. But I thought for sure maybe there was early 2024.
How's that going, by the way?
I mean, it's all the things it can be. I mean, it's great. So lots of great opportunities. I think the one takeaway is leveraging opportunities in life. Like where are the opportunities at, and where can I grow? Where can I utilize my skills and have satisfaction, right? Job satisfaction is very difficult in nursing, I think. And now that I'm back in the arena, working with nurses and working with a whole new generation of nurses, so this is really different for me. Because when I left bedside in 2020, I work with people that are still working at that hospital. Like they're never leaving. This is like OGs, even the newer ones. So it's really interesting to work with not a single person who's been on the unit more than 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was my experience too when I was bedside. It'd be like people would start and the next thing you know, 6 months later, they're charge nurse.
Right.
we just started here, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
The turnover is insane.
yeah, there's a churn, I would say. I mean, of course, people are coming in different facilities on sign-on bonuses, these new grad programs. So it does kind of mostly, I would say, new grads is what we're bringing in, but we do have some experienced nurses, which we, are really grateful for, because it really makes a difference. Because it's like just imagine you are like on a plane, flying a plane, and everybody just graduated pilot school, or like it's the first time anybody's got up in the air. So to have a one or two nurses who've actually know how to use a defibrillator, or just, have that
Just to have
sense.
a go-to person, a mentor, it's invaluable.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
I think the mentorship is, yeah, that leaning in, or like universal knowledge of like, because again, I'm kind of new, so there's things that come up where I'm like, oh, what's the process here? What do we do? I don't know the workflow. So, a lot of it is like rushing, calling people, making it up as we go, just thinking, okay, what's what's the best thing I can do? Like, and sometimes it's just like I feel like I'm the encyclopedia of all the knowledge and the resource, um, and we have great charges. I mean, I will say, we have there's great staff. It's a great hospital, great system. Um, it's been fun. I really feel like, there's that one thing, and I don't know if it happens for you, but where I love there's a part of bedside I love. I love putting my clinical skills to use and staying on top of my clinical skills. You know, so I don't know how, do you feel that way, or are you kind of like, no, I'm over that? Or you've transitioned into a different space.
I love it, but then just at least again in Florida where I was working, it's like I I I love being up to date with my clinical skills, but having to stay bedside, it was too much.
Yeah.
With all my health issues and stuff, I don't think my body could take it anymore.
Yeah.
I do enjoy That's why I enjoy teaching so much, because it's a way of still being in it while so I still teach, like, for example, I do a skills class, and I teach them blood pressure, how to insert Foley's. I teach them sterile technique. So it's a fun way, IV insertion, of still doing these skills. Uh, and I do plan on going back to clinical part. It's a two factor, because one, I love, for example, when I do psych clinicals, I love being able to talk to the patients without having to be the responsibilities of a nurse. Because when you're a nurse, you have so much. You have to do this. I have to chart this. I have to go talk to the physician. I got to, right. But if I'm just there with the students, I can just hang out with the patients and we have so much fun. We would play games with them. We would play Uno. We'd do karaoke. So and then the other reason why I'm planning on going back to clinical is because I need a psych preceptor.
Oh,
So I'm
yeah.
hoping I can network. I'm
Good
hoping I
luck,
can network enough that I can get somebody to precept me. So
man.
that's a segue into how's PMHNP school going?
Well, it is going well. I will say I'm enjoying it. I do feel like I'm going to med school and working full time, so it is that once you get into clinicals again, um,
Tell me a little bit about your program so we can compare. I don't particularly want to say where I'm going because it has to do with my employer, but
yeah,
I am curious to see like how yours is set up versus how mine is set up.
sure, yeah, yeah. So for folks who don't know, I've been a nurse almost 20 years, and then I decided a couple of years ago to go seriously thought about going into PMHNP school, and it's a bit of a full circle for me because I was a psych major early on in my undergrad degree of psych. I always wanted to be a psychologist. But at that time, I was in my 20s. I was really intimidated by the idea of a PhD, being the first person to ever go to school in my family. I was terrible at school. I was horrible at college. But so, yeah, so fast forward, here I am as I'm, also kind of planning for retirement. As I'm going to be 59 when I start, this 10th career. So, which is so crazy, right? But but the program is so it is an online program I'm doing. I did it because it was a good partnership with my employer's tuition reimbursement, and that worked. And luckily, it is a good program. I'm pretty happy with it. I really super impressed with the teachers. I mean, amazing professors. I wish we had more time with them. There is a live seminar that happens, but I kind of every and it's very fast paced because it's 10 weeks. So you're just like, oh wow, I wish I could go back and ask that one a question or that, like I do wish there was some kind of, I don't know, like some forum that the students had that was with some of the professors so we could just kind of ask questions or just, I don't know, just kind of network or just kind of get some, help instead of just going to a Facebook group. But overall it's great. Of course the issue, right, and why there's all these businesses, the matchmaking businesses for clinicals is, these schools, you choose a school, either they're going to choose help you get your clinicals or not. And because I'm where I'm located and my kind of, I don't know, my reach, also our nursing association, the state is rather small. So they don't really have a PMHNP student sub group. They barely have an NP student subgroup. Whereas like, I know in California, they have a very robust group. I think in New York, I would imagine in Florida, there's maybe a big group, but yeah, so it's a lot of networking. I did take a break and I bit the bullet and did pay for precepting.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, I had a
Do
complete
you mind,
stress
like,
out.
do you mind talking about that? How much it costs, how you went about it? What
Sure.
site did you use?
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know why we're gatekeeping about all this stuff because there's so many Facebook groups and people are talking about, don't use this, use that, but nobody really talks about what it costs. So I'm always very transparent about things like that. So there are, I will say, if you were to Google, like, I don't know, I'm only Googling PMHNP preceptors, but I'm guessing if you just did NP preceptors, there's some big companies that would show up or there's some top
Mhm.
searches. So you've got the big players like NP Hub, I think is one of the bigger players. I think they're
Mm.
recently sold themselves, or they are about to sell themselves. They're also starting a job placement match service, which is really interesting. So
Yeah,
now,
they reached out to me actually about working.
oh,
I forget what
what's it?
job, but they did. So they
Yeah.
are recruiting. So you're right.
NP Hire, it's called not NP Hub, it's NP Hire or something like that,
I don't know, but
isn't it?
I went to their site and it was NP Hub, I think.
Mhm. Yeah. So a there's a couple others, and so I I live in an area where there's not many people offering to precept on any of these
Mhm.
matchmaking sites, period. Like, we're talking 8 in my state, 8 in the next state next to me.
So out of
Really
curiosity,
limited.
is your program, because when I did my family nurse practitioner program, and even when I did undergrad, our clinical hours were concurrent with our didactic.
Mm.
Is that what it is with your program, or is it didactic first and clinical hours later?
It's so ours, and this is a little hard when you think about having to pay, it's at the end. So it's
Mine
didactic
too.
first, and then you're just back to back to back. And so
Yep.
I had like a meltdown over the summer because all of a sudden I'm like, I had some expectations that I was going to get clinical placement. It didn't work out. There was a couple, so I was not really planning on paying. And then all of a sudden you're faced with, oh, every 10 weeks you've got to, and it's not even every 10 weeks. Like right now, I have to pay for I'm starting my semester right now this week. I've got to pay for my next rotation in March, and I probably need to put a deposit on my last rotation very
Mhm.
soon. Because
Yeah.
the other thing is that because there's so few, some of them aren't even available for my rotation, and all schools are running at different schedules. So that's, and then you got to do peds, you got to do elderly, you got different groups you need to do. My school eliminated last year the requirement for inpatient because that's just impossible. I don't There's no way, unless you have some insider connection, you're
And
not
that's
going to get.
exactly why I wanna go, because I do have a connection for a psychiatrist that works inpatient. I have to reach out to him. But that's why I want to go to do clinicals inpatient, because that's the only way. Like you said, it's
Mm.
who you know, and networking is the only way. I already have somebody that I went to undergraduate school with for my RN program. He's already agreed. So that's one semester down. Now I got to find 3 other preceptors. If I can get the psychiatrist to do it, that's 2. Then I just have 2 more. And hopefully when I go to this clinical place inpatient, maybe somebody there. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the one good thing, so I ended up taking a quarter off because I just was
Mhm.
like, my brain was going to explode. I was stressing
Yeah.
out because I just thought, if I once I start clinicals, I don't want to take a break, but do
Mhm.
I have all the money? Like, overnight it's like, oh, I got to come up with $15,000.
Yeah,
You know,
that's a lot of money. Adrian,
yeah.
do you wanna highlight, hello
Oh,
21045? She said, "Love these gems." Well, they said, "Love these gems." Let me not assume
yeah.
it's a
Hey, how are you? Let's wait, did I,
you. Yeah,
I have
you
to
put my comment, not hers.
wait, pin.
There we go.
There we go. Okay,
Thanks
yes.
for commenting.
Hey, thank you so much. Thanks for paying attention to the comments. I'm back in kindergarten with
Oh, wait, I
middle.
think you accidentally yeah, 'cause it's
Oh no. Oh no. What did
yeah.
I do? Oh my God, I'm so sorry. What? Oh my God, how do I undo that? That's terrible. Put oh my God. All right, sorry. We'll have to undo that. I don't even know how
Yeah,
to do. Sorry
okay.
about that. Sorry, Ashley. Sorry. Yeah,
I
I'm
don't even
just
think she can see it because
I don't even know. Sorry
okay,
about that.
that was
I
accidental.
apologize. I didn't even know that was an option, and, I'm not wearing my glasses. So, um, yeah, sorry about that. We'll get better. We're starting this back up again. Um,
So make sure you tune in. We want to do this every second Saturday of the month, and we will rotate hosting. So today Adrienne is hosting. Next month I will host. Oh, it looks like you undid it because she's back. Look, Ashley, and it says she's Ashley. So sorry about that. That was accidental. And then guess what? Right before this chat, I actually have someone, because I posted it on Instagram. I have someone lined up for next month. It's a PA in urology that is
oh,
agreeing to come with, like, join the
awesome.
conversation.
Awesome. I love it. I love it.
Hmm.
That's great.
But
Yes.
I don't know if I was typing or what, but so per semester for a preceptor, how much did you say it was costing?
So, the retail cost,
The retail cost.
well, again, everybody has a different number of hours, right? So I don't know if everybody does 4 semesters or 160 hours, or some schools I'm seeing now, like, I know, oh, is it Missouri?
I'm trying to
One of the
find out.
states, or Kansas or somewhere, they just
Mhm.
increased their hours required, like, to
Yeah.
100. So I have to do 160 hours times 4.
Mhm.
So you enter, like, how many hours you need, and you don't have you could split it up. So I could say, well, I want to do 80 with this person, 80 with this person, or whatever. Um, but so for 160 hours, the retail cost is about $3,500.
Wow.
And I believe that the preceptors, I'm gonna say, are getting paid $10 an hour to 15, maybe
So
10
it's
to
the
12.
company that's giving all this money?
Right. So obviously again, we've missed the boat. We haven't. We could start this company tomorrow, actually. So because there's a lot of competition. There's new companies actually starting up. NP Hub they were very easy to communicate with. What I found is, I thought, well, first I want to see how these companies communicate. So I kind of reached out to a lot of them, and it was some were a little wonky, or maybe they just weren't as professional. I was just getting random
Mhm.
texts, and I didn't know who's texting me,
Mhm.
and like, "Hey, where do you need clinicals?" It's like, "Who are you?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "This seems like kind of sloppy," because you're you're putting your education on these companies to vet these preceptors. You're getting all the paperwork, you put it to your school, all that stuff. But the other part that's kind of good is that if they already are using your school, they'll tell you which schools that these people are affiliated with, or how many they can take per school, because some schools have a cap and they will track it
Mhm.
also. So that means, the school already has some of the information for that preceptor. It makes it a little easier. But it's a
Mhm.
lot. I mean, as you know, because you've already been through this process, just getting ready for clinicals as an NP, I think that process cost me like $1,200,
Wow.
because I
What
had
were
it.
some of the costs associated with that?
I had to get like a ton of labs.
Oh, yeah.
I had to get a ton of labs. I had to private pay for all these labs. I had to expedite them.
Private pay?
Insurance, like my insurance wouldn't pay for it. Uh,
What?
yeah, it was like crazy. Like, I was like, I was like,
What?
what's
I mean, they're
happening?
basic labs. Aren't they just titers?
Yeah, like
How
titers
are
and
how are they
stuff.
not paying for that?
I don't know. And then it was
Oh
like,
my gosh.
yeah. And then I had to get, what was one? Okay, I had a full meltdown with the lab because I had to get the TB.
The quantiferin?
Right. Okay, so there was like just it was wonky getting the quantiferin. I don't know why with the lab. It was a big lab company. So then
Uh-huh,
they're like, "Oh, this one's going to take longer to result, like 5 or 6 days." So and
uh-huh.
I'm like on the deadline of
Yeah.
like everything's due, and I'm just like logging in, logging in. Where is it? So I like freak out on like a Saturday, and I drive over to this lab, and I'm like, and it's packed, right? I bring my paper in. I'm like, "Hey, I can't get through to anybody." And the one lady is just like, she's like Roboton. She's like, "Yeah, sorry, you're gonna have to call the customer service number, and we only process people getting labs." And I'm like just starting to cry. I'm starting to like, I'm gonna have a freak out right here. And then the other lady was like, just came in and like saved the day. She gets on the phone because it was like stuck in limbo, the result. It wasn't released, but it wasn't there. So she gets on the phone with like the main lab, they release it. It was never going to get resolved. I would have had to take it again. So, it's just those stresses where all of a sudden, like something so small, I'm just like, "I'm gonna have a complete utter meltdown right now."
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
then the insurance, you gotta get insurance, which I actually think is gonna expire before I'm done with clinicals because I bought it and then I ended up taking off a quarter.
Mhm.
So, all these different
So you
things
don't
you
get
gotta
health
get.
insurance for your job?
I have health insurance, no, liability insurance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, NSO, I think that was 3 something. It
Hmm.
was like
I guess my
384.
I guess my because when I went to I was spoiled at UCF. I was so spoiled. Like, they found my preceptors. I didn't have to pay that, liability insurance or anything, like, it was wonderful, but the reason why I'm going to this school is because it's free, because where I
Wow,
currently work,
that's
they
awesome.
pay for my school if I go to the same location, so you can't beat free school.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, well, that's the way it works for me with my employer is they direct pay.
Mhm.
So I don't have to deal with getting reimbursed. I mean, I
Yeah,
do have to pay additional money. So, and a lot of people that are the professors have gotten their degree, excuse me, their second degree through the school.
yeah.
So a lot of them that are PMHNPs, they're double board certified, like kind of doing what you're doing. They
Mhm.
probably start teaching. I think almost all of them are DNPs
Yeah,
as well.
majority in education are gonna be DMPs or PhDs. Which that's the other thing. So my school only offered the PMHNP postmasters, but and then they offer a DNP in leadership and policy making or something like that.
Mhm.
But I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna be in school forever if I decide to do the DNP too. Because this is gonna be 2 years and then the
Yeah.
DNP would be another 2 years minimum.
Do you have a DNP now?
Mm-mm, have an
No.
MSN.
I think it's. I mean, I kind of just think it's overkill, honestly. But if you do want to go long
Well,
term in
if you
academia,
wanna teach graduate at the graduate level, and it does pay better, you have to
mhm,
have a DNP. That's just the way
yeah.
the cookie crumbles right now.
Yeah, I know, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, it won't be for me. I'm gonna be retired by then, so I
Yeah.
just can't. Like I had already said I'm never going back to school after I did my
Yeah.
MBA, which, is a terminal degree, but
I've
I
said that like 5 times.
famous last words of nurses, you guys. How many of you
I'm
guys out
done.
there?
When I got my
Yeah.
associates, I said, "I'm done." Oh
I know
my god.
I knew I was gonna get my BS ed, but when you do your ADN, honestly, I feel like ADN programs are so hard.
They
Um,
are.
oh my god, the pace is unbelievable. There's honestly, if you guys are listening to this later, you're not on the live, you're watching later, don't
How
worry.
many people are watching? I can't see that either
3,
since you're
2,
hosting.
looks like 2.
Okay.
I can't share. How do I can't I don't even
I
wanna
don't
touch
I
anything. There's a
think
lot on
yeah,
the screen. I don't wanna mess
um,
it up.
I think so Ashley said nurses are sponges for learning. I agree.
Yeah, we just love to learn. Well, the thing about nursing, right, and nurses, I think we like to pivot. We like to try new things, and we want to always be expanding our skill set, our opportunities. PMHNP is not saturated by any means. What are you thinking is like your specialty? What are you thinking you
You
want to
know,
do?
real quick, someone was telling me something that she's always on the cutting edge of stuff, and she was like, "You know what the next big thing is?" Because she's already telling me like PMHNP is going to be saturated soon. She was telling me ophthalmology NPs.
Ophthalmology.
That's very niche.
I,
But I do love psych, so I
I
don't
don't
care if
know.
it's saturated. And even though FNP is saturated, there are still so many opportunities for family nurse practitioners.
Yeah. I think it's all about pivoting. It's about adapting. It's about you've got to be a go-getter. You've got to be thinking outside the box. I mean, so for
Yeah.
me, I this has been really interesting. So my first rotation was psychotherapy, so just observing. And I was with a great, great therapist, really somebody who's amazing. And they had a whole age group that they saw, but they saw a lot of kids and teenagers. And I got really interested in working with young people. And I have, as a nurse, not ever for 1 second wanted to work with kids
Hmm.
in acute care at all. But in the psych realm, so I'm really thinking of leaning into that area. And, I mean, ultimately, my goal is concierge cash pay. That's
Are you going to start your own like brick and mortar or online, almost like a telehealth platform
well, you have to do brick and mortar, right, for DEA number. So they do require that. They're
for
really getting,
DEA?
yeah, they're getting real strict about that.
Mhm.
Uh, so you technically do have to have an office space.
Mhm.
S-
Unless you don't do controlled substances would be the way around it, you know?
yeah, but
Yeah.
if I'm seeing young people,
Yeah. A
there's
lot
gonna
of
be some
ADHD that's going
yeah,
around.
there's gonna be some Adderall thrown in there, right? Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
um luckily, the state next to me is a full practice authority state and one of the more lucrative states to work in.
Which is another thing I'm a little bit apprehensive about because there's less, um well, there's more restrictions with PMHNP as there's more full practice FNP states than PMHNP states. So that's gonna be
Mm.
something else, another hurdle, I think, for me to learn and all of that.
Oh, that's interesting. I never really thought about it that there was differences in PMHNP and other NP, acute care or FNP. I mean, um, yeah, I think that there's also like telehealth, like cross state. So the interstate telehealth laws have been extended another
Mhm,
year. That's always going to be in play. So I would say we can never assume that that's going to be a given, that we'll
mhm,
have that ability to go across state lines. But I think that the more cash pay you do, that's going to give you a lot more opportunity, right? So,
mhm.
so the more cash pay you do, cash pay, you have less restrictions
Yep.
overall, and a lot more latitude. So that's I actually found a practice yesterday. I'm on all these Facebook groups, right? And
When
I
we get off, you need to send me some of these Facebook groups.
I will. Some of them are just they're like kind of garbage, but I mean, you get some nuggets. Like
Uh-huh.
now, I'm starting to see more people coming in as preceptors
Mhm,
looking. So I saw this one guy who's California, is in San Francisco. Of course, San Francisco is going to be super high tier.
mhm.
So I thought, I want to see, and he looked like he was 12 years old, right? So I go into his website, look at his practice, and he's got in California, you have to have a collaborating physician, so he's with a psychiatrist, and their price grid is on. So they're cash pay only. They only do 4 to 9 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and then they do Saturday. So
Mm,
really interesting. They've niched in on like after hours. They only do 18 to 64. Like everything's on the website, right? The rates are on the website. Guess how much they charge for an intake fee. I was like, my life is not a lie, but I was like, wow. Just give a wild guess.
I'm gonna guess a lot because
Mhm.
based on what you're describing.
They're in San Francisco. They're
That's
in San Francisco.
um my initial number, I'm gonna come down. My initial number was like 500, but I'm gonna say 375.
No, 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 no. 4 figures, 4 figures.
What?
$1,100 cash for an intake.
Oh my gosh.
I wanna say $695 for a 45-minute session follow-up. So they had 3 tiers of follow-up. It was like a 45, the 35, and a 25-minute, and anything over 5 if you needed just assigned paperwork of any
Mhm.
kind, it was like $250. Like,
Wow.
everything's right there, right? Which
Yeah.
which I thought was really great,
Mhm.
but I was like,
It's great for transparency, but wow, that's
"Whoa."
a lot of money.
Well, right, but that's what you can command, but they're doing it because somebody's gonna pay that. So you
Mhm.
think about it, how many clients do you need,
Yeah.
right, at that revenue? And I would say, like, back to, like, the NP or, ophthalmology, right? The thing that concerns me about medicine right now is
Mhm.
all of like, I am seeing a top ophthalmologist in the Washington, DC area.
Mhm.
His whole practice is owned by a private equity company.
Mhm.
Like, you go in there like, the first time I went into the office kinda looked nice, then I go in there, like, my follow-ups, and I'm like, "Dude, why don't you get some stuff on your walls?" Like, "Who maybe I think you need to paint this other room," you know?
Mhm.
Like, it looks like I'm walked into a jail. And they're like, "Yeah, we're owned by private equity now," like, they don't even have a budget for decor.
No, I think that when the way that healthcare is going, it's just like franchises, right?
Mhm,
So a lot, even here in Florida, we have two. We have Advent Health and we have Orlando Health. And recently I heard that they are letting go most of their physicians and they're replacing them with nurse practitioners. And I don't agree with that because they're only going to pay the NPs half of what they're paying the physicians, and now they're
mhm.
letting go the physicians, and it's out of profit. That's the only reason why they're doing it.
Oh, yeah,
They want to maximize their profits. So what if a patient wants to see a physician? That should be their right. So
right.
now what physicians are going to have to do is they're going to have to go back to the days of starting their own practice, because when you work for
Mhm,
these corporations like Advent Health, Orlando Health, they dictate how many patients you have to see. You have to see patients this many every 15 minutes. You have to work these hours. And I personally prefer kind of like that office that you were talking about. Not that I would, charge that much money, but I prefer making my own hours. When am I going to work? Who am I going to see? How much time can I allot to each patient
mhm,
versus being told, be here, see this many patients, hurry up. This is how much you bill. Like, you have no autonomy when you
mhm,
work for these huge corporations that, frankly, they don't. I mean, I can say I don't speak for them. I don't work for them now, so I can speak freely. Hopefully one day they might hire me back. But anyways, like, it's just sad. It's just sad that at the end of the day, all they care about is profit, 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 even if they're a not
yeah,
for profit, you
right.
know?
Yeah, it is the so this is interesting. You bring an interesting topic, right, of nurses undercutting themselves on pay. Because what hap so we undercut ourselves on pay. So these Facebook groups constantly, right? So just for full transparency, right? I have never made under $100,000 as a nurse since 2007 when I came out of nursing school. I've never made under 6 figures. I make less where I'm at now than I would if I had stayed in California. Um, and the cost of living, no, it's
I
not.
I make less because 'cause I'm in education and undergraduate, but I
But
took a
what
pay cut.
but we say that, right? And I mean, I'm in a weird area. Why it doesn't pay more here, I have no idea because it's outrageous to live here,
Mhm.
which is another reason I think people leave because it's just too expensive. But if I see these posts where it's like, oh, I don't know, I was offered a 60-40 split or the $120,000 a year, and I have a non-compete for 2 years after for 150 miles and blah, blah, blah. No CE money, no benefit. Just I'm like, "What? Why is this even?" I said, like, sometimes I feel like these are just, like, actually the industry planting these questions to see
Mhm.
what people will say, but I'm like, "Nobody, not a single person as an NP should take less than $150,000 anywhere, anywhere."
Back in the day when we used to do lives with Nurse Liz, I think we talked about these things before, right?
Yeah.
That as nurses, because it is a female dominant profession, we are notorious for being martyrs, for not negotiating salaries, for just accepting whatever we get. And we do need to do better because we just take whatever they give us. We don't negotiate. We don't I mean, look at how strong the AMA organization is.
Mhm,
So they really advocate for their physicians, and this is the salary and this and that. And it tends to be a more of a like a masculine trait to negotiate and this and that. And I have a male NP friend who's always negotiating, but as women, we're so,
mhm,
no, I just want to be agreeable and nice and the good girl syndrome. So I
mhm.
agree with you.
Yeah, and we have to think, and I say this a lot on the groups, is like, do you think doctors come out of med school, they do their residency, their internship, they do all this stuff, and then they are gonna go live in the place they grew up? No, that's never gonna happen. Nobody cares about that. You move. You go move. But also, like, a lot of times for nurses, again, female-driven workforce, right? They may have a spouse who and they're gonna stay wherever that spouse is working instead of them being the leader of driving the economy of their family,
Mhm.
right? Even if they do make more money. So, it's the I mean, for me, again, I'm definitely an outlier, like, get I'm gonna negotiate for myself. I don't do what I do for money, but I'm gonna negotiate for myself, and
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 that's the other thing that you see, you make a good point there that it's like there is this almost like this. And we do it to ourselves. Anytime a nurse talks about money or that, like, and people are like, "Oh, but we love what you do," and this and like, yeah, you can love what you do, but you can also this is a job at the end of the day. Yes, it's a profession,
Mhm.
but you need to get paid for what you deserve, like what you deserve and your education level and all of that. Instead of like, this is not volunteer work, you know.
Right.
So people love to just throw around well, we don't do this for the money. We do it like, no, at the end of the day, I want to get paid too, you know?
Right. I can go volunteer anywhere. Right. Like, I mean, because it's again, like at any point, especially, I mean, I was looking up some news stories because, I was like, oh, should we talk about nurse crime? Because it's so, there's been some
There's
2025 gave a lot of good stories on nurse
there are
crime.
so many things I saw, but I don't even know if we should go down those rabbit holes.
But it occurred to me like, okay, I'm bed kind of quasi bedside. I don't take patients directly, but
Mhm,
I do help and mentor. But I have already been I was punched in the neck,
mhm,
like I could have had a stroke and died, right? Like punched in the neck. And then I was like also punched like in the diaphragm super hard, so hard that it knocked the wind out of me, right? And these are like 90-year-old patients, right? These are old, confused guys. So when at any point your career could completely end, there's not many fields we go into where we're like, yeah, you can just pay me whatever you want. And then like I could just get injured out.
yeah,
I mean, it's crazy.
yeah, and I don't know too much about, like, police officers, but I'm pretty sure if they get injured, they probably get some kind of package, right? Like I don't know, like a severance or
Most
some, I think, right? But we in nursing, it's just like, "Sorry,
yeah,
nothing." Like, you get
I
nothing unless you sue them.
they get more than us, let me just say, they get more than
Yeah.
us because they're civil servants, and so
Mhm.
depending on where they're working, I
Yeah.
mean, I do know people that have been kind of, police officers who've, not done too well with injuries, but oftentimes it's, you know, repetitive injuries also, right? Like, police officers, especially if they're in a car, it's like
Mhm.
truck drivers, they get a lot of repetitive back injury, just
Mhm.
like sitting a lot. So, but again, we have to like really state our value and we have to stop taking these lowball amounts of money because then what happens, right? You're saying like here, okay,
We
now
drive it down.
the doctors, are their numbers are going down. So their response is like, well, let's just put more more restrictions on nurse practitioners to practice, right? Because the answer is never going to be let's all collaborate. Right? That's never
Mhm.
going to be the answer. It's like, oh, we got to clamp down on what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
And which is why California is not a full practice authority
Mhm.
state. I don't think it ever will be. Not that it's not a place you cannot make a lot of money, but you also are very restricted on even the company you own. If you're an RN and you own a medical company, you have to have nurse in the name, which is a really
Yeah.
interesting
Which
rule
is
that they have.
what was her last name? Sarah Ernie case. I think
Mhm.
she was out in California that she had her own functional medicine clinic and she referred to herself as Dr. Sarah
Mhm.
Ernie ARMP, and she had to move states, and they basically sued her and said that she could not use doctor in her title,
Right.
even despite having a doctorate,
Right.
despite chiropractors calling themselves doctors all the time, despite acupuncturists calling themselves doctors all the time. So, yeah, California, lots of restrictions. Probably whoever is in legislation there, like some kind of physician has their hands in it because there's been a lot
Right.
of restrictions, and a lot of times, and it would be, I mean, it wouldn't, I'm not saying all the time, but sometimes these businesses have a collaborator, and really the only thing they're doing is just collecting a paycheck at the end of the month. They
Oh
really
yeah.
should be reviewing charts, right? If they're going to get paid $1,000 a month for being a collaborator, then their duties should be reviewing charts with the nurse practitioner, being, available for questions and this and that. But I've talked to NPs that have businesses, and they're like, they just take my money.
Right.
Like, there's
And
nothing
you
there.
have to have a doctor, an MD, own half your business. How, if unless you're going to put nurse in the name. So not everybody. I mean, if I'm an NP, I'm not going to have like Adrian's nurse practitioner psychiatry practice. You know, what I mean, like that's kind of cumbersome, and
Mhm,
it also downplays like what the services you're offering or
mhm,
alters the perception of the
mhm.
marketing. So, that's why I don't think I'll ever go to California to practice unless it's like locums or something. But
Yeah.
um, I definitely am open to moving or relocating into other states that are full practice.
Mhm.
But are you seeing yourself working inpatient as doing psych or
I have to
outpatient?
do more research. I probably will have to pay a collaborator, but I do enjoy telemedicine space. So I kind of want to stay in that realm and
Yeah.
look into platforms where I can also work as a psych NP via telehealth.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's a lot, I mean, there's, like, all these platforms that do all the credentialing for you. I've also heard the other thing I've heard too is credentialing process, like, for NPs versus MDs is night and day. So, people are saying as NPs, "Oh, it's taking them 4 months, 6 months to get credentialed," and then doctors are getting credentialed in, like, a month.
Mm,
And, that there's this different tier system going on that people are suspecting so it's all these delays because, for folks who don't know, if you go work for a facility, you have to get credentialed, go work for a hospital. That's a long process. You're not just starting the next day or in 2 weeks, right? You might get hired in January, but you may not start till April,
mhm,
but depending on who's going to credential you, and if, what their process is or company they use. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's pretty exciting time. I think that need
mm,
is really key, which is why I think I'll do peds. And I think, there's the medication management. I think that the space of therapy is opening up quite a bit,
mhm,
because I don't think that space was really there in the kind of the early days of PMHNPs. It wasn't something that people thought about doing. And there's a lot of controversy about that because we're not doing 2,000 hours, right? Um, but yeah, oh yeah, yeah. So yeah, there's a comment about that credentialing. Yeah, yep, uh-huh. It definitely varies. So that this person has been involved in credentialing process onboarding. Um, but yeah, so it's you have to think about what you're going to niche into, where you're going to specialize, your market, and really like a lifestyle. Like I always tell everybody, like think about what's your lifestyle. Like you like telehealth, you want to have that balance, be working from home or working remotely from an office. For some people, it might be safety issues.
For me, the way it's like I like routine, but I also like variety. So that's why the reason why I like teaching so much is because one day I'm doing didactic, another day I'm doing skills class, one day I'm doing simulation. So I like to know what I'm expecting every day, but I also like to do different things. If I was doing didactic 5 days a week, I'd be bored out of my mind.
Mm.
So eventually that's why I would like to do like, oh, I'll still see patients as a FMP. Maybe I'll do a little bit of psych. Maybe I'll dabble in education. Like I just need
Mhm.
variety. Otherwise I get bored.
Right, yeah. Well, I mean, I think too, like, it so much helps to have that, like, medical background going into psych because there's so many interactions. You do have to do a full assessment of the history of that patient.
I'm gonna put eye drops on my eye. That's why
Oh,
I've
yeah. So you've gotta really figure out, like, what it is, like, you gotta have all that background, so it helps a lot, and I mean, honestly, as a medical NP and doing psych, I mean, you could do a full, concierge business.
yeah.
I
I
mean,
don't
you
know
really
if I
could.
want to own my own business, so that's the thing. It's a lot of
Yeah,
responsibility and all that. So I don't know. And that's
yeah.
part of the ADHD. It's like I go in a million directions. "Ooh, let me try this, let me do this." But there's no real like follow through.
I know, I hear you. But it's pretty exciting though. I'm excited for you. I know this is my first week. I've got stuff due today. But I think anybody out there, think about your lifestyle. Think about what is a lifestyle you want to live and reverse engineer that. That's my best advice to anybody. It's what I tell the new staff, these nurses, because they're coming out and you just see them like, oh, they're like, this is what nursing is. Like this is it.
Yeah, some
Like
of them get a
this is not the TikTok video I thought I saw,
yeah.
right? It is a wild it's a wild west, right? It's wild. And I don't know, I've dealt with situations out here that I never have dealt with I never dealt with in California. I don't know if the expectations have just changed of families, patients.
Well, California is like a safe haven for nurses. I know
I
that
mean,
it's so hard, but
it's not that different. It's just that, and again, I think it depends on where you work, right?
I
I
mean,
just
Florida is terrible for nurses. I just had a friend, she moved from here to California because it's just
yeah.
the difference is like night and day.
Oh, yeah. I think that contrast was always most significant when I was in California. Nurses from the South, but especially Florida, and there's so many nurses in Florida. I think that, acute care is acute care. Working in a hospital is a grind.
Mhm.
It is a factory, like no matter what, it's tough. I mean, I left bedside in 2020, which was insane because of the money I was making, my earning potential. I left a pension. I left a lot behind, but I just was like, I can't transfer anywhere. I can't do, like I got to get off the floor.
Mhm.
I can't do this anymore with all these injuries I've had. And I just needed to really make a change mentally. I had to get a different space. Um, and at that point, I didn't know I was going to be like moving across the country. But I think it's just, it's not TikTok. It is not,
Yeah, it's
it's,
not
it's not a TikTok video. And it's not like, I'm going to go get my bag and I'm going to do this and blah, blah,
yeah.
blah. Yeah.
There's
No,
definitely those memes that it's like,
crazy.
what is it? Like the reality, like I guess the ideal versus reality, you know? The reality
Whoa.
is you leave and you're like tired.
There's a lie
Everything
that's been sold to a lot of people that have gone to nursing school in the last 5 years. And I think also the people that are being brought in, that are coming in, I mean, it's not for everybody. Nursing is not for
yeah,
everybody,
it sure isn't.
and you gotta, your people are relying on you to save their life,
Yeah.
and people deteriorate very quickly, very, very
That's what I
quickly.
try to instill in my students because their mindset when they come in, I think, is like, I'm just going to get a good job,
Right.
make some good money, and follow orders, right? They they don't realize that, for example, they're like, I have like when they come in, they think that they will always be told what to do by the provider, by the physician. I say, they're busy. They have a million patients. Like,
They're
you're
new
the one.
too. They're
Yeah.
new too.
Yeah. And even if they aren't, they're not spending all the time with the patient, seeing all these
Right.
signs and symptoms. So it's up to them to, and I say also, everybody makes mistakes. So if there's an order that is erroneous, you question the order. So sometimes what I do with my students is, for example, so I will give them a fake MAR and I will add to the allergy fluoroquinolone, right?
Right.
And I put them on like a fluoroquinolone, like I can't think of one off the top of my mind, but a fluoroquinolone that does not sound like the allergy. You know how like
Right.
Bactrim is a sulfa?
Yeah.
Well, they end up giving the antibiotic
Right.
because
Right. Right.
they're not doing a med rec, they're not checking the allergies. So I always in my sim, like they kill the patient, they get anaphylaxis. So they're like,
Right.
oh, but I thought if it's on the MORA, I just give it, you know? And I'm like, no, you gotta look at those stuff and you gotta question orders.
Yeah.
So
Or just like thinking ahead, like what is needed by the patient, right? Oh, we're going to discharge this patient. Oh, we didn't get the pharmacy name.
mhm,
And where are they going to go? Like what, they need this equipment. They need this, like this. Our responsibility is massive in the hospital. And so,
it is.
that's a whole topic. Maybe we should do some tips for new nurses, shorter videos, get Liz and some other folks together. And
And have you talked to Scott at all?
no, no, I've not. I have
I
not.
haven't talked to Dr. Midwife now.
I sent him a text last year, I think a holiday text or something.
He's always super
So,
busy though.
yeah, he was moving around. I don't know where he's
Yeah.
at. Yeah. Yeah, we gotta see if we can get a reunion together. But I mean, this has been great. I know we're kind of approaching an hour, and thanks you guys for
Yeah.
watching.
This was
And
I had told Adrian, "Oh, we'll do something short today, maybe 15 minutes." 50 minutes later,
did we say 15? Did you say
I
15?
said 15 because I have homework too.
I know, God, I know we got homework to do. So
But here we are.
I'm super excited. We should talk offline about some of these companies. So I'm trying to get a sponsorship from one of the NP sites. The and I'm leveraging a deal right now. So we should talk, and I can get you probably a discount
Okay.
if you have to go that route. And because yeah, it's crazy in these streets. You need a side hustle to be paying for all these clinicals. Thank you so much. Sorry,
Thanks for watching, Ashley.
thanks for watching, Ashley. Sorry, I banned you temporarily. Good thing I figured that out.
It was like, "She has been banned and can no longer comment." And I was like,
Oh,
"No."
like gong show, like just pull you off the stage. Sorry, our only viewer. Thanks, viewer, for watching us. We appreciate it. All right. Thanks, you guys. Have a good day. Share the live, like, comment. Make sure you subscribe to both of our channels and let us know where
See
you're
you
watching
next
from.
Saturday, second Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Second Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard
Yeah.
Time. And drop a comment of topics you'd like us to talk about, and we'll take a look. All right. Thanks, you guys. Take care.
Bye.